Hey guys, just in time, Will. Today we're going to talk about what would happen if you didn't have a GPS to find your way around. We're going to be calling it old school navigation. Got some of my facts from Ryan Kleckner, and some of the facts I just knew from Boy Scouts as being a Boy Scout leader. So, how hard is it really, right, to read a compass? Well, you think that it's pretty easy, that you just hold the thing out there and the thing points north, right? Well, it's not really that easy, you know. There are actually three different norths. There are one which is true north. Then there's magnetic north, and then there's grid north. Now, in true north, it refers to the very top of the globe, or is better known as the North Pole. That's where Santa lives, right? All right. So then the second one would be magnetic north, which refers to the north on your compass. If you hold your compass, it has a little magnet, tells it where to go. And then the third one is grid north, which it is in the direction of the grid lines that you see around the globe. You know, you see the lines. Well, those are known as grid north lines. So true north and magnetic north are different, and the reason being is magnetic north actually points to a gigantic ore deposit which is located somewhere in Canada. And so if you point the compass north, you're probably going to have your compass pointing right up into Canada, but it's not a true north. It's not true north. It's pointing towards that ore deposit. And to give you sort of a example of how that would work would be, if you were in Tennessee and Alabama, the magnetic north and the true north are just about in line, right, with each other. So there's really no difference between the two at that location, but just at that location, okay? However, it does get a little bit worse as it either goes west or east, okay? Say for in Maine, true north is 16 degrees of the north, is 16 degrees west of the North Pole, and it is going in the opposite direction with the other results, say from Tennessee and Alabama. Now, all these things I'm going to be bringing up today are just sort of like a summary of everything. If you really want to find out about it, the easiest thing to do would be to take a class. I took a class when I was a leader of the Boy Scouts. You have to know what you're teaching the kids, so we went to a class that was given by the Boy Scouts of America, teaching us how to plot on a map and whatnot. So, for instance, in Alaska, it's a whopping 25 degrees east of true north. So if you're in certain parts of America and you want to walk to the North Pole, well, by following the north on your compass, you're not ever going to get there, okay? To make things even worse, the magnetic north shifts a few degrees every year. So it's important to know what those values are in the area in which you live in. That's called declination. So the difference between the true north and the magnetic north for any given location is called a magnetic declination, just like I told you. So we're going to go talk a little bit about the grid north. And the grid north refers to the grid lines on the map. I wish I had remembered to get the map out, but I forgot. But everybody knows, just open a map and it has like grid lines on it, okay? And it quite often deviates quite a bit from the true north and the magnetic north. The current system used for the U.S., the Geographical Survey maps, and that's called the USGS, if you look on the map, it tells you USGS. The maps are known as UTM, and those are universal. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Universal Transverse Mercator, and that's referring to the layout and the number of grid lines on the globe. You could say, you could take a bowling ball. Say, take a bowling ball, and try to put like little icons or post-its on that bowling ball all the way around. Okay, if you did that, you would find out quickly that you're not going to be able to get those all the way around it, in a straight line. It's just not going to work because it curves. If you even take a string, and put it around a bowling ball and then try to take the next one and put it on the next one, you're actually not going to be able to keep it straight going through there. So the current system, I already read all that for you guys. The UTM is a metric, and it's broken down into tenths. And I didn't even know this, but once you learn it, it's a powerful system. That's not how they taught us to do it. But like I said, this is just a summary of what you guys would need to know. If you go out in the woods, say you're going out hunting out in the woods, and you're taking your compass and you're trying to follow your path of where you're going so you can find your car, be able to find your car on the way back. I've done this many times. Hunting, when I was out hunting, I always had the declination point already entered into my compass, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so the reasoning for knowing the difference is that the reason of knowing true north so that you can actually reach your destination. Remember, I told you if you look on your compass and you follow it in a straight line north, every time you stop and you're looking for north, trying to go by north as your guide, you're really not going to get there, because when you walk, you're not walking in a straight line then. It's either going to be off a little bit to the east, or you're going to be off a little bit to the west. And you'll never make it to the actual destination that you had planned on. So that's for that. So now, although we call these the three norths, they're actually known as azimuths. Now, if you guys have never heard of an azimuth is a direction of an object or location from the observer represented in degrees. An azimuth is accomplished by aiming at a visible landmark. Say you have your compass, and some of those compasses have that little sight that you can look down, So the azimuth is, so you're aiming at the landmark through the sights of the lensmatic compass, and that's the kind I usually buy because they're the most accurate. And then you just look down through there, and that's your azimuth. If you're pointing at where you're going to go, it's going to give you, you're going to look through there, and then you're going to look down at your compass, and you're going to see that that's the direction you have to really go to get to your destination. Similar to looking down the sights of a gun. Actually, it is actually just like looking down the sights of a gun. I always take it and look straight through the sights and then come down like that and look and see where that magnetic needle is actually pointing. So let's talk a little bit about a declination, okay? Declination is the map is a grid and your compass is magnetic. So when the converting from one to another, you must add or subtract numbers, or degrees is what they call it. And most of the maps come with a declination number on them. If you look at the bottom corner of your map, it usually will tell you what the declination number is. And you can usually just add that into your compass, and it will actually keep you on the right course of wherever you're at in that area. Every area is not the same. So when you turn, when you're turning your, I don't know what you guys used, I always use those green maps. And you could always just unfold them and you say, okay, we're going to hunt in this area right here, okay? Well, you would have to take your inclination marker and enter that into your compass and to actually get the right direction in which you have to follow, okay? And so I want you guys to know that the map is a grid and your compass is a magnetic, so when you're converting from one to another, you must add or subtract the difference of degrees, and you must always come with your all compasses come with a declination inside of them. If you look at the instructions, when you buy your compass, you always have a little instruction manual. I almost said destruction because that's what I call them. Instruction manual that come with the compass. Most of those instructions will have your declination number printed in there, and you just add that into your compass. And you do this because every compass is different, every manufacturer is different, so they put that declination mark in there, and I always go ahead and put that declination degree and enter it into my compass, because that way I don't forget every time I go out. Every time I go out, the declination of my compass, all I have to worry about is adding the declination of degrees from the location I'm at, and then add that into the compass to get the right direction. I know it sounds it sounds difficult, but it's not really that difficult. As boys, excuse me, I was a Boy Scout for several years, and I never got the kids lost. As long as I stayed with the same compass all the time. If I changed compass, I would just look at the instructions and put that new declination number in the compass, and then I would always look. I think that declination point on the map is in the lower right-hand corner, if I remember right. If not, it's the lower left-hand corner. It's no big deal, but there is going to be a declination in degrees for each page, because each page is a separate location, okay? And that's the most important thing to do with a map. I mean, there's going to come a time when, if SHTF really happens, it's going to be a time that we're not going to be able to use our GPSs. So we're going to have to use this gray matter between our ears here to figure out where we're going, how we're going to get there. And are we going to get there, or are we going to be veering off all the time? It's sort of like those conspiracy theorists saying that we live on a flat plateau. Well, if we lived on a if we were flatlanders, if the world was flat, then there'd be no use for these declination points or anything. We could just go in a straight line. But that's not how it really is. We have to go by the grid lines on the globe. There's grid lines going this way, and then there's grid lines going this way. And I can't remember, but they have a number for each one of those squares. And it would just do everyone that has never used a compass or has used the compass wrong, just to go ahead and take the class. I mean, the class is 1 day. It takes you 1 day to take this class. And then you would be able to find your way out of the woods, or if you're going into the woods to a certain area, you can find your way in there and back without getting lost, okay? And that's the reason I'm trying to tell you guys this, is every map is going to be different, and that's why you look in the lower corner of it and look for that declination number, and also that you look in the instructions of your compass so you know what the declination point is that you need to set to your compass. And it's just adding or subtracting whichever side, east or west, of the line that you're going to be, of which you would either add or subtract. And that is called LARS, and that's the left is add, and R is right, and it means subtract. So left is add, right subtract. Pretty easy stuff. So there's all kinds of conversions. Usually there's a 13-degree difference between the map and your compass. You just have to remember that number, put it in your head, and then you have to preset your compass. Like I was telling you, it's in the instruction manual. Just set that into your compass, and then make sure that you read that declination point on your map. Every map is different. They all have different declination points because they make their maps different. You can follow along with that. So the reason for presetting your compass is so that you never forget and you don't get lost. So every trip you make, it's going to go. All you have to do is your declinations are in your compass, so you go and you go to your area and pull out the green, I can't remember the name of it. It's put out by the USGS, though. And you get it out and you just look at the declination point in the corner and you look at the map and it'll tell you if it's left or right. So Lars, left is what you add it, right is what you subtract it, right? Pretty easy stuff. So so that's all I got, really. I mean, I pushed a lot of information in together because I wanted to try to keep my video kind of short. But the best information I could give you, or the best advice I could give you right now, is if you don't know how to read a map without a GPS, I suggest you either get a book or take a class. I got a book, but I didn't understand it, so I went and I took a class, and it helped me tremendously. It's much harder to try to explain it to you because I'm not a teacher, just an ordinary guy, but it's all in your declination point. It's in degrees, whether you're going to add the degrees or subtract the degrees in order to go in the straight line and get to your destination. And there's other things too. You know, you could go in a straight line to a certain point, and then you're going to turn and you're going to go another way. So you're going to have to know that when you're turning to go to your destination, that when you turn, you're actually changing the declination, you know. And you want to make sure that you keep that declination point in your head. The more you know, the more you can do. It's sorry, guys. It's really all I can tell you about. I mean, it sounds complicated, but it's not really. So I just tried to push a lot of information in there, and it all came out kind of upside down, backwards, you know. There's a lot of information here. I wrote down a lot of stuff because I didn't want to miss anything to tell you guys. And the article, very much the same as me. It doesn't really, it doesn't tell you everything. It breaks everything down a little bit, but not completely. So my advice to you guys is, if you can't read a map, take a class. It takes one day out of your life. One day out of your life to go and learn how to do this. So that's really all I have, and it wasn't very clear. I'm sorry. I apologize, because even though I had it written down, I wanted to make sure that you knew that I, from my personal life experiences, have used this technique many times, and it works. And I can tell you from experience that if you don't know how to read that compass, either add or subtract degrees to get to your destination, you're never going to get there. I can guarantee that. I've had a lot of people, a lot of kids in the Boy Scouts get lost trying to plot their way through, and we have to go out and find them. Luckily, wherever we took them, we always knew the area real well, and we made sure that the boys didn't get too far away. So we would set out some destination points for them, and then they would have to sit there and plot the map. So if you can't plot the map, you need to make sure that you get a book and read about it, or at least take a class. And that's all I've got for you. I've ran over by 3 minutes already, so that's all I have for you guys for today. Remember, we have that live stream tomorrow night. And I can't do any of this stuff without you. We're still on the 2K push because of the purge. The purge took some numbers away from me, so now we are still like 79 away from hitting it, but we're still pushing forward. So make sure you get those VRs in. I don't have but 10 of them, so I guess it'll be an easy contest if nobody wants to win some cool stuff. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night. We'll be doing the green screen again. I have it all set up, so we'll see how long I can get there. Till next time, God bless you. God bless me. God bless US of A. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up to you.